You ever just look up at the night sky and feel completely overwhelmed by how huge it all is? Or just find yourself wondering why things are the way they are? Well, if you have, then congratulations. You've already dipped your toes into philosophy. So today we're going to tackle that exact question. What is philosophy really? Let's dive in.
Before philosophy is some stuffy academic subject with heavy books and names you can't pronounce, it's something way more basic. It's a human instinct. It all starts with this exact feeling, a sense of awe, of curiosity, that moment of pure wonder about the world and, what our place is in it.
And you know who absolutely nailed this idea more than 2,000 years ago? The ancient Greek thinker Socrates. He understood that this feeling of wonder isn't just some passing emotion. Nope, it's the very engine that drives philosophy. It's the thing that makes us look beyond the surface of everyday life and start asking those really big questions.
Okay, so let's dig into that. How does this universal feeling, this deep sense of wonder, actually transform into the practice of philosophy?
That sense of wonder gets you asking questions that, let's be honest, we have all thought about at some point. And these aren't simple questions, right? There are no easy answers here. We're talking about fundamental questions about existence, about purpose, about right and wrong. These are the giants that philosophy was born to wrestle with.
So if those are the kinds of questions we're asking, then what exactly is philosophy? Well, you can think of it as the toolkit humanity has been building for centuries to systematically explore them. And actually, the name itself gives us a massive clue.
The name really tells you everything you need to know. The word philosophy comes from two old Greek words, philo, which means love, and sophia, which means wisdom. So you put them together, and what do you get? The love of wisdom. See, it's not about claiming to have all the answers. It's about being passionate about the search for understanding.
And this is maybe the most important thing to get. Philosophy isn't something you just learn, like memorizing a list of historical dates. It is something you do. It's an active, imaginative process of questioning, of analyzing, of comparing ideas, and really thinking hard about the world around you.
Now, I know, the questions can feel kind of endless and overwhelming. But over time, philosophers have basically drawn a map to help us get our bearings. This map has 3 main territories, and each one focuses on a different set of fundamental questions. So, let's go explore them. First up, we have metaphysics. This is where we dive into the deep end. This branch tries to look beyond the physical world to understand the ultimate nature of, well, everything. Its central question is as simple and as profound as it gets. What is real?
Okay, that sounds super abstract, I get it. So let's try a little thought experiment to make it more concrete. Just think for a second about the floor that's underneath your feet right now. Seems simple, yeah? It's solid, it's flat, it's just there. But is that the whole story? See, this is metaphysics in action. To you, the floor is one thing. But if you ask a physicist, they'll say it's a buzzing cloud of atoms in mostly empty space. A chemist sees a complex web of molecules. So, which one is the real floor? Metaphysics lives in that fascinating gap between how things appear to us and what they might actually be.
All right, our next stop on the map is epistemology. Now, if metaphysics asks, what is real? Then epistemology comes right back and asks, okay, cool, but how would we even know? I mean, think about it. You know the sun will rise tomorrow, but how do you know that? Is it just from past experience? Is it because of scientific laws? Or is it just a kind of faith? Epistemology dives into what separates a real piece of knowledge from just being an opinion.
And the final main territory is axiology, which is just a fancy word for the study of value. This is where philosophy gets super personal, because it's all about tackling the question, how should we live? Stuff like, is it ever okay to lie? Or is the graffiti on a building a piece of art? Or just vandalism? These aren't questions of fact, they're questions of value. And axiology gives us the tools to think clearly about what is good, what's right, and what's beautiful.
So, we've got our map of wonder, reality, knowledge, and value. But let's get down to it. Why does any of this actually matter in our day-to-day lives? What's the real, practical benefit of doing philosophy? And for the answer, we have to go back to our main man, Socrates. This is probably his most famous quote, and it gets right to the heart of why philosophy is so valuable. He basically argued that a life lived without reflection, without questioning your own beliefs and actions, well, it's missing something absolutely essential.
And look, engaging with philosophy builds real-world skills. It gives you intellectual independence so you can form your own beliefs for good reasons. It builds self-awareness by making you think about why you do what you do. It promotes open-mindedness by getting you comfortable with different viewpoints. And it seriously sharpens your creative and critical thinking skills, which are valuable in like every part of life.
But maybe the most powerful benefit is this. Philosophy doesn't promise to hand you all the answers on a silver platter. Instead, it equips you to live more thoughtfully and more comfortably with the questions. It teaches us how to navigate a world that is, let's face it, full of complexity and uncertainty.
And this brings us right back, full circle to where we began. The philosopher Bertrand Russell reminds us that this whole journey of questioning, it frees us from the tyranny of custom, from just accepting things because that's the way they are. It challenges our assumptions, it expands our minds, and most importantly, it keeps that initial spark, our sense of wonder, alive. And really, what could possibly be more valuable than that?